Hello, Doug Karsch.
How are you?
I'm doing just fine.
That's good. That's more like it, huh?
I mean, if you like your offense to never have to punt,
Yeah, sure.
if that's what you're looking for, and then your defense getting the job done, if that's what you're looking for, then okay, yeah.
I think it's just so perplexing because you just watch the team play and you think, why can't they look like that every Sunday? Every single Sunday. Look, offensively, just an absolute work of art, well-oiled machine. I have called them art games where when you're playing an overmatched team, you want to come out of that game where everything's damn near perfect. And I mean, obviously it's not. I mean, there's some things that we can nitpick about and things I'm sure they'd like to clean up.
Oh, there's definitely some. Yeah.
However, I was basically, for the most part, a game to behold. They moved the football and, showed all kinds of different weapons offensively. They could do it on the ground. They could do it through the air. Defensively, they certainly got enough stops. I mean, when you're playing an outmatched opponent, you want to dominate in all three phases, and they kind of did. There's some special team stuff again, but, Phipp is so well respected. I suspect that he will get it all cleaned up, and they're getting some guys back. But, I mean, it's just what the doctor ordered. It's just what this team needed, and it's just what our eyes have shown us pretty much for the last 3 seasons, that this is who the Lions, they're more often this team than the one we saw against Minnesota. And you go, how can the Minnesota game happen? How can the offensive line look one way one week and completely different the next week? It's just, that's sports. That's the game. That's the NFL.
Yeah, and it helps when defensive linemen want to do stupid things, get themselves kicked out of games, and take dumbass penalties, and
the Lions didn't fall for it. This is what we talk about, and I use this term because this term was woven through my entire lifetime of Detroit Lions existence. Nonsense. The Lions, there was always nonsense, and there's significantly less nonsense under Dan Campbell. And I think people, they get a little bit sick of how meticulous they are in choosing the players for their roster from they don't want to take any chances standpoint. They really do their due diligence, and they vet, and they want guys that, live, sleep, and eat and breathe football, and, are not going to be problems. And so you get the Lions, there's 2 flags on Washington for personal fouls and a player ejected, and the Lions, nothing, because it gets in the way of winning. There's less nonsense. This is a culture. This is what a good football culture looks like, where what the expectation is for everybody in the room is to do everything you can to win. And it starts with their best players work so hard that their worst players can't help but work hard.
Yeah, it's leading by example. There's a standard's been set. Obviously, the culture has completely changed here in Detroit. And as Dan Campbell says all the time, they play complementary football. Everybody's out there helping everybody else out by doing ones, but you'll take it. I mean, it was just it was one of those games where the offense is like, you can tell they just couldn't wait to get back on the field. Like, all right, boys, back to work. Here we go. And just march down the field, use everybody at your disposal. Williams had 6 catches in the game. They threw the test line. He caught it with 2 hands. Everybody was involved. And I think as often is the case, and we talk about this, I always start where it starts. It starts up front.
Yep.
The much maligned offensive line, again, answered. They've been really called out twice. To start the season against Green Bay, then they lit up the Bears for 52 points. And then they got called out after the game against Minnesota, and now they light up the Commanders for 44 points and never had to get off the field and yield to the punting unit. I mean, it was really, really good. Awosika did an amazing job. When you had Glasgow come out and Cologne had to go in, he was fine. It was literally next man up mentality, and these guys got the job done. And there's a lot of confidence now going into Sunday against the Eagles.
I just can't say enough about the O-line. Cannot say enough about the offensive line, because I think it's we got a really, really, really smart audience that last week was rattled because of the performance of the offensive line and because of the injuries. And quite frankly, there's probably very few things that, as it pertains to this season, scarier than seeing Penei Sewell laying on the ground and not being able to get back up. And this is back-to-back games he's had to leave with an injury and back-to-back games where he has returned. This guy is a warrior. But from a standpoint of what's going to make this team special, it starts right there. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. And when they have an injury to one of their starters and you have a performance like they did against Minnesota, where guys admittedly are banged up, you need to come back. What we needed, and we it's a game for the psyche, a mental health game for Detroit Lions fans to go out and dominate a team the way that you should. And, I mean, if you think about it, midway through the summer, they're probably thinking our starting offensive line is going to be Frank Ragnow at center, some combination of Glasgow, Ratledge, and Mahogany at the guard spots.
Awasika, too, perhaps.
Yeah, whether they were considering him for a starter, who knows. And then you've got the two bookend tackles. And yesterday there was a stretch of that game where it was obviously no Ragnow. You had Awasika at one of the guards. You had Dan Skipper at a tackle. You had Tristan Colon snapping. And it didn't matter. The offensive line mauled on Sunday. And protected. No TFLs, no quarterback sacks, no penalties.
Well, here's what I liked about the drive where Sewell got hurt. In my notes, I wrote, blank, Sewell is hurt. And then right after that, they go 16 yards to Sam Laporta. And then it looked like, did St. Brown drop that pass? And then maybe it was tipped by Bobby Wagner. But 3rd and 7, they get 8 yards to Sam Laporta. They throw away Goff, and on 3rd and 7, they have a 9-yard touchdown pass back to St. Brown. And boom, it's like, okay, Sewell was out. We're okay. We're still going to manage to go down the field and do whatever we did. And it's exactly what happened. And then Sewell comes back the next series, and it ends up in a 13-yard touchdown run. I mean, they just had all the answers yesterday for anything that was thrown their way. Terry and Arnold, he leaves the game with a concussion. That's okay. Legion of Whom shows up again. Those guys are making plays all over the field. And Terry and Arnold, before he got knocked out of the game, made a couple of plays out there. So it's an encouraging effort. And yes, do I know that it's the backup quarterback? Yeah. Do I know that Terry McLaurin isn't playing in this? Yeah, I understand that. Every team deals with injuries, and you don't apologize for it. You just go do what you did.
All you got to do is look at the rest of the scoreboard in the National Football League. The Broncos were 7-2, taking on a 2-6 Raiders team. They won by 3 on Thursday night. The Colts were 7-2, taking on a 3-5 Falcons team. That game went to overtime. The 5-3 Bears had the 2-7 Giants, had a 10-point deficit with 6 minutes to go, had to battle back to win the game. The 5-3 Buffalo Bills went on the road to 2-7 Miami and lost by 17. Like, you don't apologize for blowouts, and we don't have to qualify anything.
No.
You know, they dominated in a league where it's hard to dominate. And yeah, there's some really, really good signs. And we haven't even talked about who the play caller was.
Not yet.
And we will. And we'll get to your phone calls and your feedback. Hey, was it a Lions takeover again? I always like to try and estimate what percentage of a stadium, because I'm so bad at it. It's so funny because there are times where I go to games like Michigan games. What percentage do you think was Michigan fans? I don't know, 10%. No, it was more like 30. Okay. How many Ohio State fans showed up at the Big House? I don't know, 5,000. Dude, it looked like 20,000. Okay, whatever. How many Lions fans were in Washington yesterday?
Well, if you trust Jonathan Vilma, he thought it was a 40-60 split. They're 40% Lions
40%.
Fans. That's what he said.
40% Lions. God, we represent.
I think that's probably a little aggressive to say 40%.
No, I trust Jonathan Vilma.
But how about 20%? That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous amount.
It's Karsch and Anderson. We'll get to your phone calls coming up. 97.1.